Gonzalez. That brings us to supervisors' time, item 10. We're going to begin with item 10A, our resolution to add to our legislative agenda regarding gun safety and mental health funding for our state legislature. We had legislative agenda go out in December, and this would add to that and ask them to support the issues in the listed in the resolution. In order to discuss the resolution, we need a motion to put it on the table.
Madam Chair.
Supervisor Canlon.
Help me understand this. And unfortunately, well, unfortunately or not, I believe that our rules of procedure don't allow for a resolution to come up and voted on the same day. And I believe that section C5 says that supervisors will bring it up during supervisors' time and then voted on at the next meeting.
Thank you very much, Mr. Canlon. I'd like to defer to the County Attorney, Ms. Roble.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The rules of procedure under section F, item 2, state that, I apologize. First, it is in section C. I apologize. Back to section F, item 2. It says the chairman with the county executive shall prepare an agenda for each meeting. The rules of procedure use the words member, meaning all members of the board, the chair and the supervisors. It uses the word chairman for the chair. It uses the word individual supervisor for individual district supervisors. It states that the chairman with the county executive shall prepare an agenda for each meeting. So the chairman is the one that determines what is placed upon the agenda. If you then look at section C, number 5, there are 3 ways that an individual supervisor can have an item placed upon the agenda. The first one is if an individual supervisor announces his intent for the board to seek action at a future meeting. The second one, which references section F2A, says an individual supervisor in coordination with the chairman shall provide the clerk with the resolution. So that's the second way that the individual supervisor can get something on the agenda. And then the third way is to waive the rules of procedure. So pursuant to the rules of procedure, the chairman has the right to set the agenda and place a matter on the agenda, and the item is to be then dispatched with the agenda.
Madam Chair.
Supervisor Canlon.
So I want to make sure I'm clear. It's your interpretation, which has not been an interpretation this board has enjoyed the last 4 years since I wrote this section, because we held Chairman Stewart to the standard that any person on this board couldn't just bring forward a resolution and vote it on same day. Now, it's not just for our health if that's the situation. The idea behind that kind of resolution is that it gives an opportunity for the citizens to weigh in with their individual supervisor on a certain topic. It specifically was meant to prohibit an out-of-control chairperson from doing whatever they want to do. So what you're saying now, again, going against the tradition for and our understanding for the last 5 years, was that the chairperson can basically do whatever they want to do as far as introducing a resolution. They can just throw it on the agenda. It doesn't have to come before the board for any discussion, and it gets voted on the same day.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Ms.
I have not been asked my legal opinion before with regards to the rules of procedure on this, but section F, number 2, says the chairman with the county executive shall prepare an agenda for each meeting. So the chairman prepares the agenda and gets the item presented to the clerk for dispatch. Legally, as I've stated before to the board, anytime there's a quorum, the majority may act. These rules of procedures are not legally binding, and the board places it upon themselves at their discretion. But if you look at the drafting of section C5A 2i, it also then references section F2A that says an individual supervisor in coordination with the chairman shall provide the clerk a written resolution in a timely fashion for inclusion on the published agenda for the next meeting. And that is not done during a board meeting. So those are 2 other ways that an individual supervisor can place something on the rules, on the agenda.
Madam Chair.
Supervisor Canlon.
Thank you. although I disagree with that interpretation, because that is definitely something that is news to, I think, those of us who have served on the board, I think that's also news to most of the folks who are sitting out in the audience today. No, it's news to my constituents, whether you're on one side of this issue or the other. So I think the right thing to do would be to move this to our next meeting. It might end up passing. I'm not saying that this is going to determine how this vote goes, but I at least think that this board, ironically on the same day that we passed our rules of procedure, is at least seemingly to a lot of people ignoring those rules. I move that we postpone this vote to our next meeting, our next evening meeting, so at least we can show the folks, again, regardless of how this ends up voting, at least we can show the citizens that we respect them enough to give them an opportunity to weigh in on this issue. So I move that, Madam Chair.
There's a second?
I second it.
There's a motion on the floor. Discussion.
Mr. Canlon, would you also, I would like to have it next Tuesday evening to give as many Prince William County residents the opportunity to participate, exercise their First Amendment right. So I would prefer that we also conduct this in an evening session rather than an afternoon session.
Madam Chair.
Defer to Mr.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Supervisor Anger, who hasn't had a chance to speak yet.
I got you, man. So I just want to be really clear on what this is. So December 10th, we voted, and it was 6-2. I was the 2, got it, that this is a constitutional county. So that constitutional county status is not up for debate. That's not changing. I just want to be real clear on that. All right, and the original intent was a sanctuary county, and I just heard that a lot tonight. So I want to be sure that everybody understands that that's not what this is about. This is a constitutional county that was approved, that's standing. I think I heard a lot of folks talking about the gun safety of this resolution and, recognizing the fact that we need to do more with that. I will say I heard a lot tonight, just as I heard on December 10th, that really pays a lot into exactly Supervisor Canlon's point of your voice. I mean, we would all recognize that we have a problem and we need to find solutions on a together front. So I just want to make sure that that's understood here as we go forward in this discussion.
Supervisor
Chair.
Bailey, yes.
Respecting Supervisor Canlon's concerns, what I merely want to say is the intent of this board, I'm sure collectively, is to always respect the citizens and to hear the citizens' voices. And we did respect and heard the citizens' voices. And I just want to, for a point of clarity, even with the cajoling in the audience, we do honor and respect your input. And so I just merely want to say that not to incite anything other than honor and respect for the citizens. So I'm sure you would agree with that.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Supervisor Canlon?
I was just willing to say that I was fine with her friendly amendment, her change to make it that we would do it the next evening.
I will say that we had it on the agenda, and it was actually pretty well known, as evidenced by all the people that showed up and spoke tonight, and the emails that we've gotten. I feel very comfortable that we have heard people's voices. I know that there was a thought that we snuck it in the afternoon meeting because we changed it from the evening meeting. It was never intended to have it at an evening meeting. I had it at the first meeting and put the resolution in because I felt that we should, our legislature starts next week. We're giving them, this is adding to our legislative agenda. It needs to get on. I called all the supervisors and let them know that I was putting it on. And then it went out dispatch last Friday. And I know that people are aware of it. I don't feel like people haven't been aware of what we're doing here today. So to that regard, I do not feel that we need to wait another week and do this again. I don't think it will change.
Madam Chair.
Supervisor Canlon.
Thank you. I'm actually pretty dismayed with the comment that it was never intended to be at an evening meeting. Most folks are at work. I don't mean, it's 2:00 in the afternoon. And to expect that on an issue this controversial and personal and part of the national conversation, to say, well, it was never intended to be at a meeting where the most people can be there. It was always intended to be at a meeting where most people are going to be at work, troubles me greatly. And I think that's one of the other reasons why this should be part of an evening session. It's the same reason why we moved as a board to make all of our budget votes in the evening, to give people the greatest opportunity to come and share their thoughts, to share their opinions.
Thank you very much,
And
Superintendent.
I'm not done yet. The fact that we don't have the opportunity to give those people an evening session troubles me.
Thank you. I appreciate that. On December 10th, the board that you were on voted for a closed session evening meeting at 7:30. That's how that 7:30 session was added to the meeting list, right, for tonight. And I had always, when we had talked about talking about gun safety legislation, I said the first meeting that we would discuss it. And so I've always been really pretty consistent. I said we'd talk about it at the first meeting, and so I put a resolution on at the first meeting, not to overturn the December 10th that's remaining in place as a constitutional county, but instructing our legislature, who are about to go down and start talking about bills and enacting laws, I think it's timely to put it on our agenda today if we are going to do so.
Madam Chair,
Supervisor Vega.
if I may, I just want to say that Chairman Stewart did allow his fellow board members the opportunity to digest his original resolution. And then they later came to an agreement of a watered-down version, if you will, of his original resolution. With that being said, I have some concerns about your proposed resolution. And my concern is that
We can discuss that when we get the motion on the table.
well,
That would be a better time
I
to do
think
that.
I am allowed to voice my concerns as to why I agree with Supervisor Canlin and Supervisor Lawson as to why we should wait. There is no rush. We're not going anywhere. Our delegates down in Richmond are not going anywhere either. This is a serious matter. This is your resolution put forth to address mental health issues, which we all can agree here. We support mental health assistance. We support that. We're law-abiding citizens who own guns. But what this resolution fails, which 80% of it is, it's about gun control. Nowhere here in your resolution do you dictate a plan as to how we're going to go about providing the mental health assistance that is needed in this county. So I think that it's only fair to the citizens that showed up here, to every member of this board, to allow enough time to digest the original resolution and to really come to a common ground. If this is really about mental health and providing additional services that this county needs, we need to talk about this, and we do not need to rush, and we certainly do not need to make our law-abiding citizens feel threatened that their rights are in jeopardy.
Thank you for your opinion. So the same rules of decorum that we have during citizens' time applies in the chamber during the meeting. I would just ask that you abide by those rules. Thank you very much.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Thanks. So a couple points I'd like to make. First of all, I didn't know that you had planned to take up this issue on the first meeting of the year. When I saw you at the menorah lighting around the holiday season, you said, we're not going to reverse your constitutional resolution. We may pass something related to gun legislation, but I don't recall you saying that we were going to do it the first meeting of the year. Regardless, when you called me to tell me that it was going to be on the agenda, I didn't